Hello and welcome to a 3v3 cast on Events of Stronghold. Starting off, we have Rostam 313 playing as the Techmarine with the elite mod Salamander custom scheme. We have Nihalin in mid play, who is also known as Triumph, playing as the Inquisitor. I'll just refer to him as Triumph from now on, with the Steel Legion Armageddon color scheme, I believe that is, on IG. And we have Knight's Lord on the right hand side playing as the Warboss. I'm pretty sure this is also a colour scheme because the Orks have all got the little hats on, but I can't actually remember what what colour scheme that actually is. Now for the red side we have Tits and Wine playing as the Warp Spider. I'm just going to call him Wine from now on because I don't really want to keep on saying Tits out loud. But he's playing the Warp Spider up, Exarch up on this left hand side. Here against the Techmarine we have Gachamuck in mid playing as the Lord Commissar here in an IG mirror, and we have Hieu on the right hand side playing as the Warlock here. Both Eldar colour schemes, custom made, very flash looking things. But here the Warp Spider getting a little bit low here already, might even go down. Techmarine decides to focus him down. Techmarine now switching focus here, going to get a very early kill here onto the Warp Spider here of Wine. Meanwhile in mid a multi-last turret has been placed down, doing a lot of work against these guardsmen here. There's even a multi-last turret on the other side as well here for Gachamuck. But at this point though, Gachamuck does control the VP. The Inquisitor is going to go in for a decap here, but she might take a bit too much damage and might get forced off here in the end. Meanwhile Dire Avengers here tying up some shooter boys here. The Warlock also leaping in, going to force them to retreat away, and some shooters inside the garrison as well, going to be very annoying here. And meanwhile Triumph is able to push in through mid here. He's going to be able to get a flank on this turret, trying to chase down the Sentinel here down to just 180 HP. In the end the Sentinel will be forced off. The turret is going to get flanked on this left hand side though. Very unfortunate there for Rostam, losing a tactical marine model there when his tanks are on about 600 HP roughly. Banshee's trying to get in here, Shotgun Blast trying to go off here. You saw the energy bar drop and then get refilled here because the ability was cancelled. Techmarine could also consider Bionics as a second means of interrupting these Banshees and preventing them from getting into melee combat. Meanwhile the turret will be protected here for Gachamuck as the guardsman that tried to flank did get forced off here and will be running back to base, and the Sentinel pushes forward. The Lord Commissar is on the scene, but the multi-last turret here for Triumph is still active in mid. Lord Commissar though is going to go and fight it in melee combat. Meanwhile the Warp Spider here for Wine has been repurchased here, trying to force melee here onto some scouts, but met by a Shotgun Blast instead, is getting suppressed and is now forced off. But there is no Shotgun Blast left here for these Banshees, and they will be able to force off the army here of Rostam 313. Meanwhile on the right hand side, Hieu going to be holding his power farm here. Only a single generator here for red team, and no generators have been placed down here on this natural for red team either. And the same story is true here for blue team, although 2 generators have just been placed down here, and Banshees are trying to bash the power node here. Only 1 generator here for blue team. Meanwhile, a multi-last turret here for Triumph has been taken down, only to get replaced here with a heavy weapons team as that sets up towards mid. Heavy weapons team here for Gachamuck is also setting up, and that's going to force off Triumph's heavy weapons team as it gets inside the arc here, inside the arc of fire of that enemy heavy weapons team, taking a lot of damage here, brought down to just 530 HP. Nearly half health. The guided weapons team going in very aggressively here in this left hand side here for Wine. Banshees forced off, trying to get decap onto the power node, going to be unsuccessful. Guided weapons team is setting up, but hasn't got the best arc or best position here, is easily flanked by these tactical space marines and the Techmarine. And something that Rostam could have done as well is used the Kraken rounds against it, since the Shuriken cannon itself is actually heavy infantry, so if your attacks do actually hit it, then you'll do bonus damage to it instead. Meanwhile the base turret firing away here, Slugger's going in a little bit too deep here against some Dire Avengers, and they will be forced off. And meanwhile Hieu is going to lose his power node by the looks of it, as some shooter boys here for Knight's Lords is going to push in and going to be able to tear it down. Meanwhile some guardsmen are coming in for the flank here for Triumph on the higher ground here, going to try and tear down that multi-last turret that's remained for the entire game. The Warlock just running in here for Hieu, trying to protect what's left of the power here. Power node has been taken down, the generators have been taken down if there were any, and heavy weapons teams defending the area here for Gachamuck, with a heavy weapons team getting shot in the back here. Meanwhile second heavy weapons team getting tied up there by the Inquisitor. No weapons on the Inquisitor, but she is still doing a lot of damage here with her default weapon. But the Inquisitor is going to get popped there by the Sentinel and will get forced off. Meanwhile on this left hand side here, Wine is going to push in through. There is a beacon somewhere. Well, there is a beacon getting built here for Rostam according to the chat. We can see it's getting built over there as well. Going to be very useful here for blue team to actually use. Very useful to try to actually remain on the field for a little bit longer by retreating to the beacon, able to get back into the fights much quicker. And same story for Rostam as well. The only problem is the enemy is able to push a bit too strong here. They will be able to kill quite a lot of units here, and this is going to be a bit of a problem here. The Tactical Marines eating a grenade here. Banshee's able to get into melee combat. There is no shotgun blast available. That could be a dead Tactical Marine squad. Spotters are on the scene here. Banshee's taking a lot of damage here. Dire Avengers trying to push in forward. These Tactical Marines able to reinforce. Grenade getting thrown down here on top of the beacon. Going to do a little bit of damage here. But in the end, Rostam looks like he'll be able to hold his position here. The reinforcement's going to be a little bit too much here for Wine to handle. But if there was a larger push against this beacon, say if Wine actually had a second teammate helping out in this situation, then Rostam could have potentially lost everything if he didn't retreat away from his beacon. But Guardian Weapons team now going to make it very difficult for him to actually leave his beacon. There are some scouts here, they might have infiltration. In fact, they are getting the elite training right now, but they don't actually have a sergeant available, so there will be no grenade, but they can always infiltrate and force melee onto the Guardian Weapons team to get it to unset up. But at the same time, Guardsman coming in, Spotter Shell is going to land here. Looks like Guardian Weapons team going to spread it about, and it needs to retreat right away here. Needs to not try and set up, in fact will go down overall. You know, Slugger's very aggressive here from Knights Lords as he goes in for a push once again against Hieu. Doesn't really have anything to answer this. In fact, his Warlock currently dead on the ground, getting resurrected here by the Lord Commissar from Sir Gachamuck. And the Slugger's taken a lot of damage here, could even go down here, but they do actually have quite a nice retreat path, able to avoid or get behind a shot blocker. Not in time though, they were going behind a shot blocker, did not get there in time and will go down, but the power bash does continue there for Knights Lords. At the same time, Wine is pushing through, could get a flank onto this beacon here and could actually take it down. Some more generators have been placed down here, but the damage has already been done here. 3 generators trying to get placed down at the same time, and the shooters will get forced off. They were able to get 3 more generators before the power node goes, where you have to wait for the power node before you can place down more generators, but still losing 3 generators, losing the power node. There's 425 requisition gone, and that's XP given to the enemy. 334 VPs to 498 here. Blue team are going to be the first ones to tier 2 here as well. The power bashing has helped out quite a lot to keep red team down into tier 1. Very nice combo here, the entangling web and the warp spider X-like with a grenade from the Dire Avengers here, because they do have that aspect of the Avenger. They are able to throw plasma grenades, but because red team have been losing their power on constant basis here, they are going to be very behind in power, and you can see that they are much later taking up to tier 2, but at the same time red team do have that VP advantage here. And Dire Avenger squad going to go down here for Wine, didn't retreat it whatsoever here. Looks like he forgot about it. And Stormtroopers getting called in here for the Inquisitor, the Stormtrooper calling ability to get Stormtroopers out in the field for only 250 requisition and some red. Very nice to get some immediate AV out, or very nice if you just want some cheaper Stormtroopers instead. This Warp Spider though, very low, down to just 10 HP, will go down here to the Tactical Marines. They're able to finish him off on retreat, and we'll retreat back to the beacon there. To safety. Slugger's going to go down once again here. There is a third Slugger squad here for Knights Lords. That Slugger squad will be able to live. 2 Slugger squads so far have gone down for him, and that third one is able to get away. The Warlock going to go down here, is upgraded with the Immolator as well. Definitely don't want to lose your Warp Spider. Grenade getting thrown down here, is able to get dodged there by these shooter boys, and looks like Night Lords is going to try and push in even further here. The only problem is that Dire Avengers still in the field. The Warboss trying to charge in here. Rangers are setting up, but there is no kinetic pulse available here, but the Warboss will get forced off here. Stormtroopers still in the area, could get detected though by the Rangers that are hiding in the area. And very curious as to why Rostam has actually gone for a Melter Gun on the Techmarine. Melter Gun very effective against all kinds of targets, but a very short range weapon normally seen as a counter to vehicles. Scouts infiltrating in, but Banshee's able to tie them up. Scouts actually backing out of this engagement, needs to retreat straight away here. That Guardian Weapons team is doing so much work right now. The Techmarine is going to go down here. Banshee's landing the special here. That Spotter Shell might have been enough to actually save the Techmarine by knocking down a couple of models here. Banshee's now going to be engaging some Tactical Marines, but everyone is falling back to the beacon and everyone is ready for the fight once again, and the Banshee's going to get forced off here. Meanwhile, Triumph is sitting mid with some Guardsmen and a heavy weapons team and double Stormtroopers here. In fact, for Triumph, with the Inferno pistol and the Inquisitor, quite an annoying build to go up against double Stormtroopers with the assault kits. Have so much burst of damage, it can be very annoying to retreat away in time with some units. plus the fact that they have grenades as well per squad, and sometimes you see players as well go for mass assault kit stormtroopers and they're able to just fight any kind of infantry that they want, with the exception of super heavy infantry. The generator farm is going to get bashed down here. There is a Chimera on the way here for Sir Gachamuck, and I'm assuming that he has got units inside of it. Or assuming that he's got his guardsmen. Okay, his guardsmen are falling behind. There is one guardsman squad inside his Chimera, I believe, but the Chimera is taking quite a bit of damage here from the Inferno pistol here of this Inquisitor. Lord Commissar is going to go in. The Inquisitor, though, gained very low. Will not be able to finish off, but grenades getting thrown down. That grenade is going to kill it! You need to be careful with grenades and vehicles. Grenades do actually do quite a bit of damage now to vehicles. Only takes 2 to 3 to actually kill a transport. I think it's 2 to 3 if it is a Chimera. Especially if you throw at the rear arm, you can get rear armor hit bonuses against vehicles as well with grenades. This scout squad, though, getting very low, is going to try and retreat away. I think the Warp Spider can finish him off. It does have the entangling webs, it does have that bit of extra damage, but decides to go in for the VP capture instead. But that Chimera loss, though, is quite huge, though, for Sir Gachamuck. Especially given that Triumph didn't actually have any real dedicated AV other than the Inferno pistol on the Inquisitor. Does also have an autocannon in the area which is setting up now, but the autocannon wasn't present in that fight. And this whirlwind, though, going to be very annoying, just interrupting this heavy weapons team. So Gachamuck should consider getting a refractive field for the heavy weapons team so the lead model does not get knocked over. And once again, a power bash over here for Night Lords. He is keeping the pressure on Hieu throughout this game here. Warp Spiders and Dire Avengers proving to not be enough piercing damage here, where that Warboss is getting a little bit low here, but should be able to get away just fine. Should even consider a spiky armor as well, just to give extra health and health regen. Synchronizes as well the boss pole, or even in tier 3 get the heavy armor, since you still get a 10% bonus on the 960 health bonus that the armor does give you. It looks like it's time for Hieu now to go in for a power bash of his own, as he's now forced Night Lords off, and Night Lords doesn't have too much of an answer here. Wraithguard squad losing their Exarch here. These double stormtroopers proving really strong right now. Level 2 on both squads, I think. Or the second squad is nearly level 2 as well. Meanwhile, Sternguard veterans coming in here for Rostam with that yellow colour scheme, or because they are salamanders, they do turn yellow when you turn them into Sternguards. Banshee is going to get killed here, I imagine. I think these Sternguards should have forced melee on these Banshees and they would have definitely gone down. They're still going to go down anyway, though, in the end, and Stormtroopers are going to finish what's left of this power farm here for Red Team. 294 VPs to 447, even though it looks like Red Team are in bad shape. Throughout all these engagements, Red Team are staying ahead in VPs by an extra 150, and some nice grenades here. But surprisingly, only taking down 3 models in total there. I think the grenades could have maybe gotten split up a little bit. And 2 also cannons setting up here. These Sternguard veterans need to back away. They're very grouped up right now, taking the full brunt of that AoE damage. Meanwhile, Sir Gachamuck going over to the right hand side here. A Weird Boy has been purchased as well now for Night Lords, and Weird Boy is very nice with its ranged weapon, very good against blobs of infantry in general, and with the Warp Vomit, very good at countering units on melee. And if you're able to get close enough to the Warp Spider squad, Warp Vomit is very nice to prevent them from teleporting away, so it forced them into a retreat almost immediately. But the Chimera allowing the Dire Avengers here to reinforce. But Dire Avengers not the cheapest of units to reinforce. Warboss desperately trying to finish off that lone model there with the Power Claw, unable to do so, and the Weird Boy now getting tied up here by the Lord Commissar. There is no flak jacket, so there is going to be no execution. That Weird Boy should be able to get away, and Rangers taking a lot of damage here. These Rangers are going to go down. The Stormtroopers with their burst damage going to be too much, along with the delayed retreat or no retreat whatsoever from Hieu. Chimera once again, though, for Sir Gachamuck needs to be careful now with the Inquisitor here. Needs to be careful of these Stormtrooper grenades after what happened in that previous engagement with the Chimera. But on this left hand side, though, everything is kicking off. Wraithguard, 2 Wraithguard squads pushing in a grenade onto those tactical marines, bringing them down to just a single model, forcing them off here. Quite surprised that there is a missile launcher here on these tactical marines, because I can't see any vehicles here for this Eldar player. Some guardsmen do remain on the side here for Triumph, and I think Rostam needs to consider maybe even going for the Accident Mechanicum here with these double Wraithguard on field. Needs something to actually tie them up in melee combat. Stormtroopers, though, going to try and force off the Sentinel here down to just 200 health HP here, but the Stormtroopers going to get forced off here as the Orks does get a full salvo off onto the squad. Wraithguard pushing in forward, going to absolutely destroy these Spartans here. That one salvo at the end, able to finish off the entire squad. Very unlucky there as well for Wine, losing the Exarch, leading the Wraithguard squad, does stun the squad and also damages them as well. When the Warlock leading the squad, it does go down. The Weird Boy doing a little bit of friendly fire damage there in the end, but Hieu is going to get forced off, and the Sluggers are pretty resilient. They are level 4 as well. They don't care too much about a bit of friendly fire. They're just interested in fighting the Whirlwind. Actually going down here, double Orks cannons pushing in here from the Chimera. There's enough to force it off. The Orks cannons in such a position that they're actually covering just outside the beacon and have a really nice spot here to actually do a lot of damage against Rostam here, and also Triumph. The Inquisitor is going to go down here. The autocannons do finish off their salvo. Wow, the execution as well onto the heavy weapons team here with the Commissar is just decimating any kind of infantry within a certain radius here they're trying to push in through. But the autocannon here for Triumph is going to be able to fire away here, and so Gachamuck needs to reposition his autocannon if he wants to deal with it. Does have a bit of a weird angle, needs to, but isn't able to fire in this area, so he should maybe reposition, and is repositioning right away, and be able to focus down the enemy autocannon, which is very grouped up here. He is able to reinforce himself, whereas this autocannon here for Triumph is unable to be reinforced from just yet, but grenade game thrown down here. So Gachamuck will need to be careful here, but is able to just tank it. Artifactor shield does provide a lot of tankiness to the squad, reduction of 50% damage or range damage to the squad overall. When it's set up, the Stormtroopers coming in, the heavy weapons teams need to reset up or get inside that Chimera. In fact, a flare is getting dropped down, and everyone entering inside the Chimera is going to back away. Grenades thrown, but actually doing more friendly fire damage to the Inquisitor here, and that Inquisitor will go down here. But the Techmarine is on the scene and can get a res instead. Meanwhile, some tactical Marines trying to force melee here onto the Wraithguard squad. The autocannons and Guardsmen trying to get out here, but I think they can just get forced melee done right away, and the Hellfury Strike on top of them is going to try and do what he can. We're also doing a bit of friendly fire damage here to the Stormtroopers, 205 VPs to 398. Red team currently ahead in VPs by quite a bit, but I would say that Red team were looking weaker on the armies earlier on, but things seem to have evened out here. This beacon is getting heavily pressured right now, especially with these two autocannons set up once again, but at the same time Red team lacking on the power here. And there was even a Rocks going to go down here, able to take down the Chimera. Mines in the air. Ooh, that one Rocks at the very end there, nearly taking out the entire rest of the army there, so Gachamuck, but the two heavy weapons teams will live overall. That was extremely close right there. The Chimera going down is kind of expected when Rocks does fall down from the sky, since Chimera will get stuck on other units in the area if he doesn't able to get out in time. The Inquisitor remains dead on the ground, but Techmarine should be able to get a res and should actually focus on getting a res now before Red team get back out of base and start going in for a push. And that power farm being taken down constantly here for Red team is restarting to hurt them now. As you can see that the entire blue team are tier 3, meanwhile everyone in Red team is currently on no power and it remains in tier 2. And blue team even floats in power while in tier 3 at the same time, just to show you the power difference in this game. But blue team heavily behind on VPs at 148 compared to the 398 here of Red team. This Wraithlord though going to do quite a bit of work here, but the Looter tank and the Power Claw on the Warboss. The Wraithlord isn't going to be lit for too long, although the Haywire Grenade onto that Looter tank could be good for the Wraithlord to actually focus it down now. Rear armor hits here. That Looter tank needs to be very careful. It's taking a lot of hits now. Luckily it does have that reinforced armor placing, otherwise it would already be dead right now. The autocannon says something. There's even the webway gate here. Heavy weapons teams using that webway gate to exit here. The ASMs coming in for Rostam. They're fairly fresh here without much XP whatsoever. In fact, they're going to lose multiple models here. Could even lose the Sergeant here. Lose the Sergeant as well. I imagine that the squad is going to upgrade to a Vanguard Veteran squad, and it's going to replace the Sergeant and upgrade to Vanguard Veteran Scouts, so getting destroyed by a Plasma Grenade. Heavy weapons teams trying to set up in this push against the beacon here. Mines even on the ground, and no detection there for blue team. Grenades getting thrown down here onto the setup teams. A second grenade going to throw up that initial grenade, with the ASMs also jumping in as well. They're going to take some damage there from that grenade, but a heavy weapons team should go down here. Should be able to get focused down by these Stormtroopers. The Stormtroopers don't seem to be focusing it down. 20 HP here. Looks like it will be able to get away overall. On this right hand side here, the Weird Boy going to go in for a shot, missing though because of the elevation here against this Warp Spider squad. Warp Spider's going to teleport in very aggressively. Could force melee actually. They do have the aspect of the Warp Spider, so the Exarch does have power blade weaponry, which allows it to actually do power melee. And actually does alright actually. Sentinel though is going to go down here in mid. Even if it decided to back away, the autocannon salvo would still finish. Meanwhile, Hieu going to go in for a push against blue team's power here. The problem is that blue team are floating power now with 200 power for Rostam and Triumph and 150 power here for Nightlord, so they can buy a tier 3 unit without any power, any extra power right away. The Stormtroopers going to go in for a power bash once again. Very painful to red team though, because they are lacking in power in comparison to blue team at this point. Stormtroopers though getting tied up here by the Warp Spider, is armed with the power blades himself, but the power blades on the Warp Spider Exarch doing heavy melee compared to the power blades of the Warp Spider squad only doing power melee. 126 VPs to 377. Blue team now on a 2-to-1 cap here. Need to keep on that 2-to-1 cap here because of how low the VPs are getting. The beacon even in need of some repairs right now actually. Techmarine should actually go and repair this beacon while he heals from it. And Imperial Guard bunker here. Imagining that it's going to be upgraded to a healing bunker. The problem is that 2 autocannons here for Sir Gachamuck could actually easily tear down this bunker. In fact, stubbornness onto the Lord Commissar as he engages in, and the autocannons are now set up here. Stormtroopers able to infiltrate away, might even hit that line though, and that will reveal them. There's even a warp throw activated here, but there's a Orks going to go down here onto Hieu's army, and luckily is able to get away here. That heavy weapons team will be able to get away as well. And if the pathing was a bit worse there, he would have lost a squad or 2. Lord Commissar though getting a special though, and is running away. The stubbornness bonus is going to keep him alive for now. The one autocannon going to fall back. There is a second autocannon here in the area to try and protect, but I think that Triumph is going to be able to push through. Meanwhile, an Orbital Bombardment going to catch out a lone Dire Avenger model here. That one Dire Avenger model I think is probably dead. Nope, in fact it did live overall here, as it just runs past that Cherry Farm. Vanguard veterans armed themselves with a Power Fist. This Falcon is going to be very short-lived. Has been loaded with Wraithguard as well. And Wraithguard needs to be careful here. The Vanguard's trying to chase in. There's a Guardian Weapons team here to suppress the army, and Vanguards do not have enough jump available. And the Ork drop is coming in as well onto the army here of Rostam. The Ork is going to leap into combat here, going to push those Stand Guards over. And these Wraithguard can push against this beacon right away, but needs to be careful of those Vanguards however. Meanwhile, on this right hand side, haywire grenade onto the looted tank, but nothing to actually follow it up right now. As Hieu is now forced back into base, does have some fire dragons to actually try and counter that looted tank. There's even the Chimera on the way here. The warp throw, they're going to pull in all the melee units here. That Chimera very low, might even go down here. The Wraithguard going to get forced off here in the end by these Stormtroopers. And the Guardian Weapons team will go down to multiple grenades here from those 2 Stormtrooper squads. At the same time, the base turrets firing away also can set up in the area here against the Ork army of Knights Lords. Nob's going to go in Iron Frenzy stance right now, just running into base, immune to suppression and immune to damage, in fact, for 10 seconds. That doesn't last too long, but retreating away now, goes in a little bit too far here and will be forced off as the looter tank and Weird Boy decides to sit this engagement out. And Warp Spider going to try and bash down this power farm here. Stand Guard veterans using vengeance rounds here need to switch over their ammunition to something a bit more effective against infantry. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but the one that does the little poison trail when they shoot. Plasma grenade getting thrown down, goes to do some friendly fire damage though, so that Warp Spider Exarch, as the Stand Guards were able to dodge it. And Warp Spider going in very aggressively here for a decap. 126 VPs to 230 or 229 here. For some reason, looking at this side of the map seems to make the game lag a little bit for me. I don't know how it looks for you. There's even a Baneblade in mid actually for Triumph. Right now there is a medical bunker, there is still the beacon to retreat to as well. It's going to be very difficult here for a red team to actually push against that, because it looks like Triumph is quite fortified here just with the Baneblade alone, along with all the guardsmen support and double stormtroopers as well to get rid of enemy setup teams. All the Wraithguard though exiting the gates on the opposite side of the map here for Wine. Could push against his Ork army. Do need to be careful though, because these Wraithguard are incredibly slow. Looks like he's going to enter the gate, and looks like he's going to come back out of the gate once again. Hieu is also on the side. There is also the double autocannons, but there is a rocket run coming in here for the Inquisitor for Triumph, and it's going to try and catch out these heavy weapons teams, also catching out some guardsmen as well. And that rocket run was absolutely devastating here, taking down multiple models, but everyone's still reinforcing from that Chimera. Demolisher Cannon here from the Baneblade could be quite brutal here against the heavy weapons teams. Demolisher Cannon though is going to miss the heavy weapons teams, in particular the Orks are now forced off the Wraithguard now and jumped into the fight. The haywire grenade with the Wraithguard here could prove difficult for the Baneblades to survive here. There's even another rocket run. Well no, that's even mines per Garsus though, going to stun those heavy weapons teams as a Vanguard veteran squad even goes in and forces melee now onto a heavy weapons team, taking down one squad here, going to force down a second squad. The Orks jumping in here. These Wraithguard are able to tear down this Baneblade here, some rear armor hits. They're able to do it. The haywire grenades slowing it down along with the path blocking from friendly units. There's going to be enough here for the Wraithguard to actually tear it down. The autocannon remains set up in mid, but the Orks and Commissar do not care about it too much, but the beacon is close by, so the units will stop retreating in a second. A Predator is out here for Rostam as well. 126 to 161 here. Things getting a little bit close between both players, but red team still remaining tier 2 for the entire game, but blue team, with the Baneblade lost, tier 2 doesn't matter when you can still take out Baneblade. The Orks though getting popped by some grenades inside that bunker there. Wraithguard do have the benefits of that healing bunker, but it's not going to matter too much when there's an army of knobs and guardsmen firing away at you. Vanguard veterans also retreating at We're doing a little bit of friendly fire damage, and Hieu pushing in through mid as well. Meanwhile, Wine is pushing in through that left hand side, wants to try and get that power farm. The power blades, Spider going to try and go in here, but it's kind of unsupported right now. Even with the haywire grenade, there's not enough support here. That Predator is surrounded by allied units. In fact, this Warp Spider is actually going to go down here, just absolutely melts away. Level 5 though. They tried to go in for that Predator, was unsuccessful in doing so, and even then Techmarine can always use Blessings of the Omni's Eye in case the Predator did get a bit too low. Hell-free strike though onto the Eldar army there. Hieu, a flare is dropped down here. The Ork army there with that boss pole, just making the game lag because these effects for some reason just make the game lag. The Vanguard veteran is going to be jumping in onto this heavy weapons team here. Vanguards with that power fist going to be very effective at picking off model at a time, doing 45 heavy melee DPS. The rest of the models all doing power melee. Very effective at anti-infantry and disruption here, and execution onto that second heavy weapons team here, but unable to actually fire at anything, so that's 100% damage bonus is a little bit wasted. Grenade onto the Dire Avengers here, unable to take down any models, but these Dire Avengers are going in a little bit too greedy here for the decap on this VP. Are able to get the decap, but do retreat away, and Wraithguard are coming in now for the supports here, but the Wraithguard are getting a little bit shot blocked here as the guardsmen are able to just force melee on them instead. Meanwhile, the Predator in mid is going to try and fire away here. The Chimera is so low, the Vengeance rounds will be enough from the Sternguard veterans to actually take him down. The autocannons are firing away here. The autocannons are unable to force off that Sternguard veteran squad in time, and red team not in control of the central VP, but have neutralized this left-hand VP and are trying to hold 126 VPs to 102. The Techmarine does get specialed off. The Orks goes in for the decap and starts going for a cap herself, but it's forced off here. Mines getting placed down in mid. Once again, the ground is absolutely charred here. The heavy weapons teams are pushing forward as well. The Vanguard veterans are probably going to jump in. Execution's going down. Warp throw onto the mines here, but there is detection, so the mines will not detonate here. And the Warp Vomit onto one heavy weapons teams. Meanwhile, Fire Dragons coming in here for Hieu. At the same time, that Predator gains so low. Per gas is going to go down, going to snare. All these Fire Dragons are going to stun them, in fact. Vanguard veterans going to be jumping in. One model is a little bit delayed here. Or two models a little bit delayed. Another heavy weapons team here for Sir Gachamuck. Meanwhile, the Fire Dragons are forced off. Dire Avengers are left on the scene. Going to throw down some grenades, but the grenades are going to be big here. Going to catch out multiple models here, but still unable to actually turn the tide of the battle here because there's just so many units here for blue team. 126 to 94 VPs. Blue team finally regaining control of that VP on the left hand side. Warp Spider is going to go down once again. Here's the Vanguards with that power fist are able to finish him off. And it's a 2-to-1 cap here for blue team. Red team struggling to push in here. Hieu now with 3 Fire Dragon squads going to be very effective against any kind of vehicle on the map. There's only a single Predator as the only vehicle here for blue team. With a Manticore on the way here. A grenade game thrown down. Vanguard Veteran is going to jump onto the Orks here. The Orks does have the energy shield. The energy shield is already depleted here, and the Orks will need to be careful. The Power Fist is so good at single target models here. Vanguards could try and jump once again, but do not have the energy to actually do so. Wraithguard going to be pushing in against this Predator here. Needs to focus down these guardsmen instead though. One squad is getting very low. The second squad is also getting low as well. The Vanguards could jump in and try and finish off this Wraithguard squad in particular here, but the Vanguard's going to be jumping in onto the Fire Dragons here with grenades going down, and Immolates are also going down as well. Wraithguard squad will be able to live there with 23 HP with only the Warlock alive. Pergasus going to get cancelled a bit prematurely there. Meanwhile, red team pushing in through mid. Heavy weapons team and also cannon set up, and the Warp Vomit to knock red team off that VP. Meanwhile, the Lord Commissar Warlock. Going to be sitting here as a two-man army here, but unable to actually do too much, I think, just by themselves. The stubbornness bonus is not enough for the Commissar with only one unit nearby. And we're going to try and do what he can. Warboss and Knobs in the area. This Warlock will need to be careful. Another rocket run going to be coming in though. Going to be decimating these guardsmen. Might even kill the bunker as well. Bunker will go down. Units inside is going to go down. All guardsmen are now down for triumph, including this heavy weapons team now, just down to the double stormtroopers and Manticore here. That rocket run was quite painful. They're also going to be jumping in, going to inspire this Warp Spider X-Cycle though. Wants to kind of inspire your entire army rather than just do a commander alone. But the Vanguard's here, level 3, going to be jumping in and engaging this Orks here. Really wants to stop her from getting the decap, but she is able to do so anyway. Does turn on that energy shield to give her that extra bit of tankiness when retreating away, but the shield doesn't actually take effect when you retreat away. The Warp Spider going down once again, is getting that phase shift armor as well. But we'll have to repurchase him if he wants to finish that off. Meanwhile, Sir Gachamuck is going to push in through mid once again. The Ork army is in position to actually try and fight him here. The heavy weapons teams are all setting up. There's 4 heavy weapons team, 2 suppression, 2 also can. Lord Commissar just sprinting in there with the inspiration from the sword. Lead by example. The also cannons going to do so much work here. These knobs are actually getting a little bit low at this point. Well, in fact, the knobs are not low. It's the Lord Commissar that it looks like he's getting low. And Fire Dragon's sprinting in here. Fleece of Foot is activated. A level 10 Lord Commissar, in fact, here for Sir Gachamuck. This Commissar must have done quite a lot of work this game. These knobs, though, are definitely getting low at this point. Meanwhile, an Eldritch stop taking out the Stern Guard veterans, and it looks like the Vanguards as well. Oh, we took down a couple of Vanguard models. Meanwhile, knobs are going to be forced off here in the end. Wraithguard are trying to run away here from the Vanguards. It must have been a different unit that saw Rostam get killed. I'm pretty sure it's something else along with the Stern Guards. But a nice grenade here on the scouts, onto the Dire Avengers here. The Warp Spider is going to go down once again. The Warp Spider has gone down so many times this game with such aggressive play there with the Power Blades. Red team look like they're able to actually push in through. The Orks has gone down though for wine, and that's quite an expensive loss. The Warlock is running in here for Hieu, and there's another Eldritch going to be landing on top of the Vanguards and knobs, although they look like they're able to get away just in time. And as I say that, they do get caught by that Eldritch. The Vanguard's able to reinforce here, able to get an extra model, and also is getting dropped down. Knobs with the Frenzy activated are able to get away here. Meanwhile, Emperor's Wrath is going to just decimate the Ork blobs. They sit too close together. Now Red team are all tier 3 themselves. The Eldritch did kill some units. The Weird Boy is now out of control, and Manticore Strike on top of all of these heavy weapons teams, and Executioner on the Lehman Russ as well can do some nice AoE. And this Manticore Strike killing multiple models here, but unable to actually finish off any squads, and then Orbs and Barn are going to follow up as well. Going to catch out some of the units here, catching out heavy weapons team, catching out a Guardsman squad as well, and the Lord Commissar. Techmarine with the Plasma Gun and Signum Armor though. Could get an easy res onto the Inquisitor that's standing next to him as well. The Avengers running away, 92 VPs to 51. Wraithguard going to be pushing in once again here. Do need to be careful of the Stormtroopers though. And Lehman Russ with the Executioner going to be pushing in through. Red team currently on a 2-to-1 cap here. Blue team though with the higher amounts of VPs do have a little bit more time though compared to red team if they were in a 2-to-1 cap, and their rocket run going to be coming in once again. I think this rocket run is going to miss though. Catches out some of the Dire Avengers here and catches out a couple of Wraithguard models, but other than that it wasn't too devastating there. And Night Lords is actually down to just a Knob squad only. And looking in the mid, it's just so laggy for my PC right now. Wraithguard running away here, the Inquisitor with that Inferno pistol, trying to do what she can on retreat. Lehman Russ there with the Executioner going to be so effective. Oh wow, the Manticore Strike on top of that heavy weapons team as well, down to just single models per squad here. Able to barely get away. Guardsman pushing in another heavy weapons team with suppression is on the scene. Stormtroopers do need to be careful. They are level 4. Really want to keep them alive. They could throw some grenades onto the VPs to try and protect it. Lehman Russ will be able to finish off that heavy weapons team. That Executioner AoE is just so strong when all the units are grouped up together. Also with a fusion gun, going to be able to retreat. In fact, she doesn't retreat away. The Knob is able to finish her off instead. On retreat, 42 VPs to 51. Things are looking up here for red team as they are in control of a decent portion of the map, I would say. The blue team now in control of the central VP and also in control of their natural VP soon as well. Things are going to be a bit rushed here for red teams. They need to push in fast. Swift movement is activated. You can see how quick these heavy weapons teams are. Warp Spider on that left hand side trying to do what he can, is waiting for it to be clear so he can actually push in, also waiting for these Wraith Guards to come in at the same time. Meanwhile, the Commissar in mid is going to go in, does have that stubbornness bonus, should be able to tank a fair amount of knobs, going to be engaging here. Going to be engaging these Dire Avengers. Dire Avengers actually leading into combat. The Warlock that leads them. The Lord Commissar is able to get a decap on mid. Is going to try and get a cap at the same time. Meanwhile, the Shimmer Orb allowing the Warp Spider to get a decap there as well. And at the same time, on the natural here for red team, some commandos are trying to do the same thing, but the commandos look like they're going to be unsuccessful as the Fire Dragons are going to be a bit too much there. The Lord Commissar needs to turn on his energy shield, turns it on just in time here to actually survive the next few hits there from those knobs, but knobs going to switch onto the heavy weapons team now, doing to be a bit careful. Meanwhile, the Shimmer Orb still up and activated, but the Vanguards are going to be the ones to cap that VP. 25 VPs to 40 VPs here. Power Sword on that Lord Commissar level 10 with stubbornness bonus, doing so much damage right now here to these knobs. Still unable to take down any models, and Lehman Russ is just kiting around these Wraith Guards as well. They are unable to actually land or finish off any shots onto this. Lehman Russ needs to try and hit ground or focus ground to actually try and get it off, and Rocks going down as well, going to catch out a Guardsman squad here. I believe this is also doing a bit of friendly fire damage here to Triumph Lehman, although Triumph probably doesn't care too much since there's probably enough repair support with the Techmarine on the field and another Lehman Russ here. In fact, that was not Triumph's Lehman Russ, it's Gachamuck's here. He does have a Vanquisher Cannon here, but his Lehman is getting a little bit caught out here. The Inferno Pistol on the Inquisitor going to be enough to finish it off. Warp Spider once again onto this left hand side. Vanguard's going to jump into him, but the Phase Shift Armor is going to lock down all the squads as well. Now when the Phase Shift Armor does end, you do actually have a 40% damage resistance to everything. And I don't know if the Phase Shift was the best idea here, because it just allowed blue team to get more units into the area here and actually protect their VP. And in fact, the Warp Spider is actually going to go down once again. Heavy weapons team going to be pushing in through mid. And look at the carcasses on the field right now. 17 VPs to 24. Red team really do need to make a push right away, or as soon as possible here, and blue team really needs to do anything and everything to protect their VP. GG's getting called in chat here, but red team still have a chance to try and push through. They're on 15 VPs, they really need to go in. Guardsmen are going to go in here, level 4, but getting stunned here by the Pergastus from the Inquisitor. Unable to actually push against this VP and taking a lot of damage here since they are still stunned. Stormtroopers trying to do what they can. Stormtroopers with the grenades could be a bit too much here for them to handle, and they do retreat away very early. Dire Avengers on this left hand side, but the cap is just too late here for red team, and blue team going to be able to win here after being on such a VP deficit throughout the whole game. But at the same time, red team on a power deficit as well, and blue team going to be the ones to win here.